and make us like really like, you know, support each other, you know, strong each other, help each other. In it, babe. คันเดา สวัสดีค่ะ
Sawadee Krab. Today we thought it's about time that we started doing some videos on the house build and let you know what the progress is.
Yeah.
It's been a long time now. A lot of people have been asking about it and requesting it, haven't they? So we thought we'd come out to one of the hotels where we used to stay whenever we were over on holiday.
Yeah.
This is the Panerai in
ซอยสัมพันธมิตร
Sampantamit.
สัมพันธมิตร is a full name but most of Thai people know as ซอยสัมพันธ์
So yeah, we thought we'd come out somewhere different and do the intro for the house build because it's well overdue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened was, you know the story about how Pook and I met on the plane on a flight home from Thailand. That's in an earlier video, and I'll put a link up in the corner if you haven't seen that. After we've been together for some time, good few years, we've been backwards and forwards a few times, haven't we?
Traveling backward UK and Thailand every year.
Visiting family. And we decided that it was time that we both decided we wanted to come and live in Thailand. We wanted to come and move to Thailand full time.
Yeah.
So we needed a permanent base here. Now, let's go back in time a little bit. When you were little,
Yeah.
you and your parents, you moved around quite a bit because...
Yeah, we moved in the village. When I was little, we keep moving from different place.
Why was that? Why did you have to keep moving?
First, maybe sometimes the house owner they want to sell the place,
Okay.
so we have to move to another house because we rent, and then we got to move again because they want to increase the price.
Increase the rent?
The rent, yeah.
And I'll just say, Pook's mum and dad they're not wealthy. They're not wealthy people, and back then it was a struggle for them. They had 3 children they were bringing up. Pook's dad was a truck driver. Pook's mum was looking after the children, but every now and then she'd have to go out to work with your dad, wouldn't she?
Most of the time she went with dad, always went with dad.
So you'd have to have a neighbour looking after you or someone?
Oh, back then, yeah, when we little.
Yeah.
This is when the neighbor look after us, and we rent only small room. Mom and dad have to out for work, and every morning we have to get up and then have some breakfast before school with a neighbor. Yeah.
All right, so you might be thinking, where's this leading to? So your brother got to a point where he had a reasonable job, was earning good money, and he could get a mortgage.
Yeah.
So he got a mortgage to build a house.
Yeah.
Once that started, you all moved into a little house around the corner from where your brother was building. I've got it right, yeah?
Yeah.
So you were living in a little rundown house. Tell us about that rundown house. Tell everyone about it.
Well, that house was 2-story, and the top floor is a wooden floor, and downstairs it was cement. And that house always get flood every year when rain season. Always get flood. And we used to have a bowl, try to get the water out.
So every time it flooded, you had to get buckets and throw the water out?
The house always get flood because the house lower than the street.
Do you know something? The first time that I visited your family, you took me around and showed me that old house.
Yeah.
And I remember as we walked in, there were sandbags in front of the door.
Oh, yeah.
Bags of sand trying to stop the water coming in. So they were there permanent.
Yeah.
And then if it rained, at least it would keep some of the water out.
And the drain was not that good, back then, the drain. But now the council, they put a new drain in it.
So that little house is really important because Pook and her family have spoke about it with great fondness. They all had a really good time there.
Yeah.
Real things were looking up for them. Life was getting easier. The brother had a job. You know, things had started to get a little bit easier for them. So they've got good memories of that place. Now, when your brother finished building his house, you all moved out of the small rundown house and moved in with your brother, didn't you? Into the house where he is now. Beautiful house.
Yeah.
Detached house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, lovely place. So the next thing, as far as I can understand it, is the old lady who owned the rundown house that you were living in.
Yeah.
She needed to sell it quick.
Yeah,
she needed some money. Is that right?
Yeah, she needs to sell it quick. So my brother did a second mortgage.
He managed. Where he's you know, his working conditions, not working conditions, where his job status was growing and he was doing well, he actually managed to get a second mortgage to buy the small house where they were renting as an investment. He was thinking about getting some investment properties and looking to buy and sell a few maybe.
Yeah. So
he bought that little old rundown place with the idea of building a new house on there, renting it out or selling it for a profit. So at that time then, and he got a really good deal on it. He got it at a cheap price, didn't he? Yeah. So what happened was, they're all living in the new house. Her brother is paying a mortgage on the little rundown place. After them, it was after then that we met up, wasn't it? All that had happened before we even met.
Yeah. After that we met.
So then we came over here once we got together, and you were showing me around. You were telling me the story about the little old house. Heard all about it and the sandbags and bailing the water out. Anyway, so that was that. At that time, we hadn't been together that long. We weren't talking about permanent plans here or anything really. You know, we'd only been together for a little while. But as time went on, we knew we were going to move to Thailand. We knew that we would make it a permanent move. We knew that we would buy a place here or build a place, something. I didn't know how we were going to do it at the time because things were still quite tight for us in the UK, weren't they?
Yeah.
We were both living in the UK. Pook had her online business. I lost my business, had no money, but we were building gradually. So one of the trips over here, Pook's brother, we were talking about what our plans were and that we were considering coming over here, and Pook's brother said, well look, if you want, take that place.
Over.
Take it.
Yeah.
Either take over the mortgage or whatever and just have it as your own and do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
Well, we'd managed to save up. We left it with him for a little while. We were making our mind up, weren't we? But we got to a point where we raised enough money to actually buy it off of him cash, because he got a really good deal on it, on buying the old house and the land, didn't he? So we actually managed to buy that off of him outright. So he paid the mortgage off. We paid him what he paid for it, and that was it. We had this little old rundown house and a bit of land.
Yeah, it's quite good memory because after we got it, so that we bought it, and Dad, like, you know, tried to pull this, pull that down, and ask someone to buy the wooden one. Someone bought it, the wooden floor upstairs. Someone bought it because they're going to use the wood to make resort or whatever. And
just reclaim the timber and reuse it.
And the downstairs it was cement, and that, like, we say pay someone, you know, we did say you did tell him to pay someone to they got to knock it off first.
Sorry, at that point, just in case people don't understand what happened there, a lot of these old places, these old Thai places, they're half timber, half concrete. That timber is real good quality timber, isn't it? The floorboards are really thick, solid hardwood, and so it's sought after. So what Pook was saying there was that once, you know what it's like, how word gets out, someone knows we bought it, someone knows we're going to build, and word spreads. And someone heard that house was going to be pulled down, didn't they? She had a project just outside of town, so she inquired if she could buy the timber, didn't she?
She said, can I have that wood?
All the wood.
And then send someone to...
Agreed a price for her to buy the timber, and part of the deal was she would get people to come and pull it down and take it.
Pull the wood down and take the wood away.
So the top half of the building had gone. We were left with concrete walls.
Concrete downstairs level. And
then your dad, he used to go there in the morning just like with his hammer and start knocking.
And where where you need to use what they call machine to cut. So he borrowed his brother.
Oh, to cut through the steel and that. Yeah.
And then he used a big hammer to
knock the walls.
Yeah, knock the wall down. We say pay someone to do it. You know what he likes. You don't want to
pay for a couple of guys to come in and pull the place down.
He do it all himself.
He did it, you know.
Yeah.
And you'll see the pictures that I'm posting.
Yeah.
Such a grafter, such a hard worker. You wouldn't believe that guy's almost 70 years old, but he's incredible, he really is.
Yeah.
So that's where we were. We were back in the UK when they were pulling it down, weren't we?
Yeah.
So, you know, we get pictures sent across. Pook's mum would take pictures and send these pictures across to us.
And then after that, and my cousin did bring the hardcore.
So we're getting the pictures back in the UK. Pook's mum's taking the pictures and sending them across to us.
Mum keep reporting what happened now.
Pictures of her dad grafting.
Yeah.
So then we've ended up with a flat plot.
Yeah.
And then your dad's out there again, not happy with that. We could have got someone in with a little bulldozer or a little tractor to smooth it down. No, he's out there picking away, smoothing it all out by hand. And then obviously we needed to raise it up.
Because the land is really low. Yeah.
There's no way we were going to have sandbags in front of the door anymore and buckets to bail the water out. So we needed to raise the land up just in case it flooded outside.
Make it up high.
So what did your mum do? She got in touch with a relative, didn't she?
Yeah, my cousin, he do the truck delivery hardcore, something like that. So we call him and then immediately, we start with 7 trucks. Is it 7 trucks?
7 truckloads?
Yeah, the soil and the hardcore.
It's only a small truck though, isn't it? It's not a massive, big tipper.
Not 10, I don't know what they call, not 10 wheel, it's a 6 wheel truck. Yeah,
a small tipper.
but still a lot, isn't it?
So your cousin came round about how many? Well, quite a few truckloads.
7 trucks.
7 truckloads of hardcore.
Yeah.
Pook's mum demanded a good deal, by the way.
Yeah.
Good businesswoman, good negotiator. All right, he's a relative. He doesn't own the company though, does he? He just works for the company, doesn't he?
He got his own truck. But
his own truck, but he works for the company.
He knows a lot of people because this business is come from my uncle.
Yeah.
My uncle started.
Oh, right. So that was it. We got the hardcore at cost price, really, just above cost price. Obviously, you know, sorted him out, the cousin that sorted him out that he got something out of it. But we had a real good deal on that. So the hardcore, a lot of it, Pook's dad was shoveling it. Then they got a small tractor in from one of the locals to level it off. And you'll see the pictures, what we ended up with before the build started, before the foundations were dug.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that Pook's dad did again, he was round there every morning, wasn't he? Evening time, and he'd be out there spraying it all down.
He always look what can he...
If there was anything for him to do.
Yeah.
And he was
what
out
can
there
he do every
spraying
morning?
water, and the idea was to spray the water on it to make it compressed, sink down, pack down as much as possible before the build started. Every day he was doing that.
Yeah.
So that was it really. That's
and
where,
Mum helping too. To credit to Mum.
Oh, of course, You know, your mum was around there helping out.
Yeah. We're quite lucky because 2 of them, you know, all prepare for us like step by step, isn't it? Yeah.
So by that time we'd been speaking. We were still over in the UK, weren't we?
Yeah.
But we've been speaking through Pook's sister-in-law about architects and builders.
Yeah.
So your sister-in-law.
Yeah.
She had some friends who had some building work done.
Yeah, someone at her work recommend some the builder company. Yeah.
And they had their own architect as well. They used.
Yeah, they're quite good feedback. This company.
Yeah. They're online. They're Facebook.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do, I'll say this now. I'm not going to advertise them or recommend them or put a link to their Facebook or anything until our house is finished.
Okay.
Any problems with our house, they're going to get bad press, believe me. So with the land being flat and needing to talk to builders and architects, we decided it was time to come back. So we flew back over. Was taken around a couple of some of the projects and buildings that this building company had worked on. Yeah. Absolutely looked good, didn't it? Absolutely great. Yeah. So we agreed that we were going to use them. Yeah. So we had a meeting. They came round to us, looked at the site, gave us some ideas. We drew up a rough sketch of what we wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
And the plans were drawn up. Got the plans back to us. In fact, did we get the plan? Yeah, we got the plans before we went home, didn't we? Back to the UK.
Yeah, we got
we
the
took
plan.
the plans back with us.
Mm-hmm.
We were back in the UK. We took the plans with us. We had our own copy of the plans to take with us before we left. Back in the UK, just building up our funds a bit more.
Mm-hmm. And we keep looking our plan.
Yeah.
Many times.
That's right. Always getting the plans out.
Yeah.
Getting the plans out, and that's. And
we got to get that done. We got to get it done.
That was the drive to get us over here. So then it got to a point where we had the first stage, didn't we? Pretty much. So we flew back over here. This isn't over months. This is over years, isn't it? A couple of years. Mm-hmm. Came back over here. Met up with the builders, told them a start date, so they would start while we were here. Yeah. And we were staying here at the Panerai, weren't we?
Yeah, we stayed here.
We were here at the Panerai.
Yeah.
And Pook's dad had come round on the tuk-tuk and pick us up, or in the pickup truck, pick us up. We'd go round to the brothers. We could have stayed at the brothers, don't get me wrong, but Toby was here at the time, wasn't he? Staying there. They would have made room for us to stay there, but Pook's nephew, he was over from Germany and he was living here full time. The house was a bit crowded. We didn't want to impose, so that's why we checked into the Panerai. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we were backwards and forwards.
And you need to work online too, isn't it? So
that's right. Yeah, I was coming back here and trading from the hotel room.
And you also need some space and
that's right.
Quiet too.
Bit of privacy. So that's where we were. But we were here for them to start the initial work, and that's what they did. I couldn't believe it when I went round there one day and there's a couple of guys turned up with shovels and like the little picks they use. They don't use pickaxes like in the UK.
They use a hand one, isn't it?
They use like a little hand pick with a scoop on the end of it. Two guys turned up with shovels and those little hand picks, and they're there to dig the foundations, weren't they?
Yeah, and wear flip-flop.
Yeah, flip-flops, no hard hats, no high-vis jackets. Forget that. Common sense comes into play here when it comes to health and safety, believe me. So I was thinking of JCB or something to dig the foundations. No, they started digging by hand. And you'll see the pictures, you'll see those guys digging away. So yeah, I used to feel quite guilty turning up in the morning, seeing these guys out there with their shovels and the little pick scoop thing, digging foundations.
They're really hard work, aren't they?
Unbelievable, really is. Unbelievable the way that they work. It's just something I'd never really expect. In India I'd seen something similar, but UK you wouldn't get anything like that at all, would you? It's all machinery, it's all like, well, that's it. I've done a couple of hours, tea break, work
bad back.
Yeah, that's it. But no, the grafters
are really
this
area,
that's it, fences and barriers up all round.
All around there.
I'm standing beside them, watching them working on the foundations. So tell me, once we actually started that build, how did you feel?
Oh, I feel exciting.
Could you believe it, like that childhood home? We're building on the same site.
You know, when it come in like this, it's like, oh, exciting, and you keep watching it. What the next step? What they're going to do tomorrow?
And also the other thing is, it was like our dream.
And when I see things like that, I was like, oh, where my picture gonna be? Oh, where I'm going to hang your guitar.
Start planning where the guitars are going to hang and where the pictures are going to be, and they've just started picking out the foundations. But the thing is, the big thing for me, and it gave me a real boost in morale, I suppose, was the fact that, sure, we had to go back to the UK, but that was happening, they were working on it, and that was our dream being realised, wasn't it? Once you start to make those steps like that, and you see it unfolding before you, it's incredible, the feeling, isn't it?
Even you have to go back to UK, but your house been built. Start with something already. You have a power in yourself.
Exactly, that's right.
So you got a goal, you got something to looking forward to, and it makes you feel like,
that's
come on, let's go for it, let's do it.
It really did make a difference. It really did.
And make us really support each other, strong each other, help each other. In it there, kind of.
I think it was the second or third day into the guys where they were digging the foundations out by hand, and I went round there as I usually did in the morning just to see how they were getting on, and the site foreman was there and they were standing there looking down one of the holes that was being dug, and I went over to see what they were up to, and it was filling up with water. So obviously there was a water table that they'd hit just, I don't know, it was probably about just over half a metre. It was less than a metre down as they were digging the foundations. Maybe it was a metre. But anyway, I saw this and straight away I knew there was going to be a problem. So we got in touch with the architect and the building company and asked them what was going on. And he said, this is quite common. You sometimes come across these water tables. So I'm thinking, quite common. Well, if it's quite common, wouldn't it have made sense to have just drilled a little borehole down to the depth of the foundations before you started anything else? And then that way, any water table, you could, you could allow for it. You could work out what you were going to do with the foundations. But no, his reply to me was, the reason we don't do that is because it's an additional charge that you'd have to pay, and you might not even need to pay it. So I'm thinking, okay, well that's quite a nice way of looking at it. Okay, they don't add that, they don't automatically do that. But now, knowing what it's like dealing with planning regulations in the UK, because I've done that many times before, and this kind of problem, what it would cause back there, I was thinking, hang on a minute, now what we're going to need is, because he said what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get one of these boring machines in to drill down, I think it was 6 or 8 metres, to put some piles down in the ground that deep. Then we can build the foundations on top of that. And I'm thinking, well, first off, that's going to take some time to redraw plans, send it through the planning office and get it passed, arranging for the workforce to do the work. And of course, the other thing was, how much more of a cost is this going to put on us? Because we were working on a really tight budget with this first stage, and I'm thinking, this is going to cost us a fortune. Drilling down into the ground to put 6 metres or 8 metre piles down, concrete reinforced piles, and then building on top of that, that's going to add massively to the cost of the place. The other thing was, we were working with a really tight schedule. We were due to go back to the UK, I think it was about 2 weeks' time, and we'd planned on having the first foundations down. And you must have seen this, or anyone who's been in Thailand seen a building, you then hold a ceremony where they put the first 2 posts up, the first 2 bits of steel work ready for the first 2 posts to hold the building up, and they give it a blessing. And it's like a big deal whenever you're putting up a new building. All the neighbours come round, you have a bit of a party as well. So I'm thinking, well, that's out the window. By the time everything's sorted, we're going to be back in the UK, and it's going to really set us back. I must admit, I was thoroughly pissed off. I really was.